What's going on, everyone? Nick Lahiri here with Thomas Miller, AskEsssel Environmental. Hope everyone's doing well. Today, we're doing something a little bit different. Instead of our normal Friday fun days of conversation of environmental topics, today we're going over a very interesting trend that's been coming around with our clients, a lot of our clients that are real estate developers and shopping mall developers, is the retransformation of the shopping mall concept here in the Bay Area and throughout the country. Thomas actually attended the event for, what was it, the Hilltop Mall?
Hilltop Mall in Richmond.
Right.
And
I thought it'd be great to get his insight on what he's learned at that event and also share some insight on some of the research he's done. Thomas, what should some of our clients that either own malls or are involved in shopping centers that do work around them, etc., what are some things that they should know?
So first and foremost, Credit Suisse Bank has predicted that by the year 2022, about 25% of malls throughout the United States are going to be going out of business. So that's a big deal for the owner-operators of these malls, developers of these malls, because now they're being threatened by, as you probably know, Amazon and online stores. So
what's Amazon?
So Amazon, as you know, yeah. Anyway, they're threatened by online business, and in order, their answer to that, to fight back to that, is basically they're adding residential units either a part of the mall complex or on the perimeter of these malls, along with bringing in more entertainment. What that means is, typically before the mall is more of a retail space, you see your Macy's, JCPenney's, and all the other smaller stores. What they're doing here, especially at Hilltop, is they're bringing in more restaurants and different types of entertainment. That includes live entertainment, that includes community sort of gatherings inside of the mall, and they're also bringing in movie theaters and different types of things that you might not typically see at a mall, like rock climbing gyms, things of that nature. So this is their response, and this is kind of what I got at this sort of event or transformation meeting, is what they called it, for Hilltop Mall here in Richmond, California.
Are they currently in construction, or where are they at in the process?
So they aren't in construction yet. They're actually going to be starting with removing the flooring in the mall this coming summer, and that's their first step. They have a lot of work to go into. The concept of the mall isn't 100% solidified yet, but there are talks of actually adding a Kaiser there as well. There's ideas of adding in a double or two-story parking structure. They're basically trying to plan around the demographic of this mall, what type of restaurants they want to put in, what type of retail stores they're going to put in. But pretty much what they said is there's going to be an influx of new restaurants, new retail, community space that's going to be used for the public for free or little to no cost. So that'll also bring in, with upcoming elections, place and forum for people to kind of get together and chat over different ideas that are going on here in the Bay Area.
So for because we've been involved in some projects that are related to different studies in this sort of concept, right?
Yes.
So typically then, what would you say is the first step for developers or owners that are looking for a concept that would revitalize the property that they own?
One of the biggest problems that we're having here in California, as you may probably know, is we're having a housing crisis. So idea number one was adding housing. So this is a 77-acre piece of land with a mall centered in the middle of it and surrounded by parking. So they're going to still keep a majority of that parking, but also add, I think they said about 900 to 1,000 units. Don't get at me if I'm wrong, but it's going to be a significant amount of units they're going to be adding on top of this mall, and hence the name Hilltop Mall. It's on top of a hill, so they're positioning those units in an area where they're going to have a nice view. And then the second idea is going to be adding, or the whole fact that they're going to be renovating this mall. People that have lived in the Bay Area and have lived specifically in Richmond already know of this mall. They don't go to it. They'll travel 25 miles, let's say to Pleasanton, let's say down to San Jose, Santa Clara, Fremont, to go to the newer, updated malls. So they're going to be completely renovating and rehabbing this entire mall. They're making it brand new. It's going to be a completely different experience for the community.
And some of the ways that we work with developers in terms of assessing their current property and helping them figure out what are the highest and best uses has been initially to do a feasibility study. And the feasibility study includes doing an analysis from a zoning CEQA standpoint to be able to understand what are the limitations and what would need to happen to allow for things like mixed use in an environment. So that includes housing, as well as various different concepts of retail that are coming in. And part of what we also attended earlier this year was the ICSC Monterey Deal Making event, in which the retailer runway was amazing sort of insight into various brands that are kind of breaking the traditional mold of what a retailer does in an environment. And one of the things that we noticed was a lot of the companies are gearing more towards what people have used the term experiential real estate. And that's very interesting for us, and very interesting to be a part of, because the buildings and the sites that are present first need to be assessed from what's allowed from the city, then the building and the construction itself. Generally what we find ourselves kind of looking at is a structural component of what's currently there, and what type of renovations or repairs would need to be made to the structure to then allow it to undergo the addition of a storage or story or multiple stories above that. Then looking at the site plan and figuring out what is the highest and best use, because a lot of these malls obviously have a significant amount of parking and everything else, and a lot of times those sort of large plots of land are proving an opportunity for developers to take a look at and put in different concepts. Once again, the fundamental trend is that it's becoming more experiential. It's not always retail. It's kind of incorporating the community aspect and finding ways to keep a person or a group of people, families, etc., present. So they may go from one location to another, may be doing things other than shopping, and as a result, kind of making that more of a fundamental part of group, activities.
Let me piggyback off of what Nick was saying as well. And the interesting concept about this mall is that they're essentially making a micro community here. So, like I mentioned, with the residential units being put in, there's talks of a Kaiser now being put in amongst all the new restaurants. They're having live entertainment. They're gonna have a live theater.
Right.
But the other thing too is that Richmond just introduced that new ferry terminal. So this also brings the opportunity for people,
which will kind of connect to San Francisco and.
So not only will it connect people from the peninsula to go to this mall if they want to, but it'll also add a public sort of transportation system for the mall. So not only are these people going to be able to live there, shop there, maybe go to their doctor's appointments there, and who knows, maybe they'll add other stuff there. Tenants might pop up, a dentist, whatever. But it's creating a micro community where they won't really have to leave the area unless they have to travel somewhere else that's important to them. So on the weekend, they can wake up on a Saturday, relax at their home, go take a stroll inside the mall. They have a great sort of planning commission for events, so they have different events that come on a weekly basis. One of the keystone ones that they do is a car show every month, where high-end luxury cars come in. They do a giant car show. It's called Cars and Coffee, and that's something that draws in a big crowd for them. And they're doing that now at Hilltop, even before the actual renovation. So basically,
what kind of cars typically go?
So you got anything from your Ferraris, Lamborghinis, classic custom muscle cars.
I've got a 1994 Toyota Corolla that I just had a new paint job on. Mm-hmm. Is that Cars and Coffee? Is that a good one or no?
No, I wouldn't. I mean, if you want to come and have a coffee, sure. But the display cars.
Not bring the car.
Not bring the car. No.
Okay.
They have their own sort of, I guess, your classic collector.
Collectors
cars, exactly.
Well, we just thought this would be a great discussion point. It's something we've been talking about in projects. A lot of our clients have been asking us. We'd love to hear about what you folks think and what you think and what you've seen in terms of experiential real estate and how malls are changing throughout the Bay Area. So let us know what you think in the comment section, and if you haven't had a chance, we'd love for you to follow us, our LinkedIn and our YouTube. So follow and subscribe if you wouldn't mind. Thanks for watching, and looking forward to staying in touch.